What's going on, Reject Nation? It's Greg Alba here. I'm back talking about Game of Thrones. And I want to give a quick pension. This is not a paid promotional shout out. I just wanted to say that I use the TV Time app a lot. And if you guys ever want to keep up to date with other shows I'm watching, or if I happen to miss putting up a review for Game of Thrones, you can go to the TV Time app. It's for free. It doesn't cost you any money, so just follow me there. It's just an awesome app. I love using it. I didn't review episode 2 and 3 because I watched them a little late, and if you're more than a day late, a lot of people don't care anymore. But I watched this one on time, so I'm here to talk about it. Episode 4 of Season 7, The Spoils of War. Episode 3 and 4 were awesome, and this one, wow. See, I was planning on just reviewing the season premiere episode and then the season finale episode, but this season just keeps on delivering the goods, man. The rewards, my friend. Easily the most rewarding season we've had. And I'm a sucker for reward-driven stories. Like, let's build up the MCU and give fans the Avengers. Let's have Frodo and the rest of the Fellowship suffer for 2 movies, then give them a hell of a bunch of rewards in Return of the King. And that's what this season is beginning, and that's what this season is feeling like, in terms of just giving the audience what they want. It might not always be good for the characters we're rooting for, but it's certainly delivering the thrills. I'm not going to go over every single scene or dialogue spoken in this episode, just the bits that stood out to me, but there's quite a few. So early in the episode, Mira, she decides to leave Winterfell. And she has this very impassionate goodbye from Bran. Now that Bran is the three-eyed raven, he's kind of the three-eyed dick at the same time. At one point he says, "I'm not Bran. Not anymore." Even though he was rather close-hearted to Mira, in that very specific moment, it made me go, I really do love what they've done with Bran. Because I'll be honest, didn't really love Bran for the first few seasons. Didn't really care for his storyline. But seeing who he's turned into now, I feel like the actor is doing a really good job with the role, and it just makes Bran a much more mysterious and compelling character overall. And I felt like it was the scenes here that you really got to see that. Because he gets 2 scenes in this episode. One is a goodbye, and another one is a reunion. And both, he's not that emotional about them. And it just keeps making me wonder, how much are his feelings truly indifferent to those that he really did love and care about prior to this change he's had? He doesn't really care to give Mira a lot of praise. And this Mira girl, she's done a lot. She's done a lot for Bran. She would have sucked his crippled dick if he has. Should I keep that in the video? I'll keep it in the video. And for a guy who's a fan of the character of Mira, it was kind of a bummer the way she just left. Like, there was no fan service given to that moment. See, I'm not sure if she'd be coming back. I wouldn't be surprised if she is coming back. In fact, I'm hoping she is, because that would be a bummer if that is her last episode in the show. It was flat out heartbreaking to see the way Mira was responding to how Bran wasn't giving her the love and gratitude that she truly deserved after everything she's done for the guy. So in terms of Bran, it really does make me go, how much of Bran is actually left in there? Are we ever going to see this guy get emotional again? There's this great scene where Arya and Sansa reunite, and when they reunite, that feeling just kept kicking in. That feeling that goes, wow, these two have no idea how much they've changed. They just have no clue. And even though they both changed as individuals, you can see that in the actors' faces, they provided moments in that scene where they see the younger versions of themselves. They haven't seen each other in years. And in that moment, you can see these characters who have changed so much start to go back to that childhood sibling rivalry, yet loving type of vibe. And I love that exchange of dialogue when they're looking at the statue of their father, how Arya's pointing out the statue looks nothing like Ned, which I thought is just a really cool detail to have inside of this Game of Thrones world. Like, yeah, it makes sense. The people who like sculpted this together probably didn't have a perfect idea of what his face looked like. And Sansa says, everyone who knew his face is dead. Arya looks at her sister and says, we're not. Oh, little does she know that Bran's still alive. It's just so rewarding to see hope and faith being instilled in the Starks. It's a great positive reward for the audience. A little side note, I really like the writing when Arya tells Sansa that she has a kill list, that Joffrey was at the top of that list, but Sansa kind of just laughs it off, not really believing Arya on it. He's like, why would my sister have something like this? I know you, Arya. But in another compelling reunion moment, when Arya gets to reunite with Bran gets to show Arya and confirm for Sansa that he is who he says he is. When he's telling Arya that he thought she'd be going to King's Landing because Cersei's on her list, so you can just see that look on Sansa's face like, holy crap!
Arya was telling the truth?
And she knows Arya hasn't talked to Bran yet, so for her to now see that Bran knows about the list without being told about it, Bran really does have these visionary powers. It's just such a compelling and rewarding reunion for the Starks. So many of the Starks have died, but the remaining children are all reuniting, and they've all changed. Physically, yes, but emotionally especially. And I just remember in the earlier seasons, I didn't really give a shit about these kids. Specifically Bran, Sansa, and Arya. And I remember early on, a lot of people really started loving Arya, and I just wasn't. But I've grown to really love them, and Arya has grown to be easily one of my favorite characters on the show. Then Jon Snow takes Daenerys to see the cave of dragon glass. And Jon Snow, this dude's hit El Dorado. If I could find a cave like that full of weed, yeah, baby. So Jon takes Daenerys to the cave, and he shows her writing from the children of the forest, you know, the first men, and how the first men band together to fight the White Walkers. And Daenerys, you could see, is really starting to believe Jon about these White Mother Walkers. Get it? And Jon really needs Daenerys to fight with him. Daenerys is insistent that she'll only do it if Jon bends the knee, and I love that conflict. Because Jon has his reasonings not to bow. You know, the people in the North won't like it. He knows about the Mad King. But we know as an audience that Daenerys is so much more than that and so much different than the Mad King. But Jon, he doesn't really know Daenerys too well yet, so he can't just make that decision. But you can see that Jon... it's kind of, he could sort of believe that she's very much 100% different than the Mad King. I think in the end, Daenerys will prove herself to Jon and end up bowing the knee. Right now, totally get that he's not. Completely understand, dude. Take your time. But I think down the road, he will. And now we haven't been getting a hell of a lot of Tyrion in this season yet. But there is that scene when Tyrion gives word to Daenerys about what happened at Casterly Rock, how they're losing their allies. And there's a line there, I don't remember word for word, but basically Daenerys is questioning Tyrion on whether or not he's giving the best of plans, or is he holding back because he doesn't really want to hurt the Lannister army because, you know, Tyrion's a Lannister. This is not something I actually questioned or thought might be in the back of Tyrion's mind. But the look on Tyrion's face and what happens later in the episode, it does show there is some conflict there. Like I said, it wasn't something I was expecting the show to actually delve into, but it only makes sense to explore it at least a little bit. Of course he'd be affected by this. Tyrion's not a ruthless, cold-blooded killer like his sister is. This dude has a heart, and at the end of the day, there's a lot of people, more than just Cersei, who are gonna die, and it also puts his brother Jaime in harm's way. But in that same scene, you see Daenerys starts to get mad. She gets all mad queen about that shit. Blood's starting to boil. She's talking about just riding into the Red Keep and just storming the castle and taking back what's hers and just killing everyone. And the words of wisdom that Jon Snow gives her, I love that Daenerys asked Jon for advice. And he gives these great words of wisdom about if she just stormed the Red Keep and started killing everyone, a lot of innocent people would die. And the image that has caused so many people to follow in her footsteps would just be completely ruined, and she'd be turning into something that she's setting out to be the exact opposite of. So yeah, that scene was great because we get to see the support and ally that Jon Snow is becoming. And we also get to see a hint of Daenerys, you know, becoming mad with power. The side which Jon Snow is reluctant on. Only adding more fuel as to why he probably hasn't bowed the knee just yet. Guys, how great was that scene when Brienne and Arya were fighting each other? Arya was held captive by the Hound for so long. She couldn't defeat him. So in this moment, she takes the opportunity to train with Brienne, who's the one that defeated the Hound. And it was so cool because they're pretty much equally matched in terms of fighting skills. In some way, Arya is a little better. She still has the Arya style, which she began developing in season 1. Now she has more martial arts tricks up her sleeve. It's cool to see their different fighting styles mesh with each other. I love when fight scenes do that, where you have one very specific fighter and another very specific fighter going toe to toe. Arya, a little more fancy. Brienne, more ruthless, and they're fighting each other, yet, you know, they're equally matched the entire time, and I totally believed Arya in that scene. It was super badass. It was a really badass scene. And it does get me excited for the chemistry that Arya and Brienne will have in the show. And when Sansa was watching, I thought that she was probably jealous of Arya in that moment. You know, they didn't make it pitch perfect clear this isn't the Dark Tower. That's just what I gathered. I mean, Sansa's been abused and tortured for so long. She suffered her way to the position she now holds. And Arya, yeah, she suffered a lot in her own ways, very different ways though. And it's allowed her to become this badass warrior with these skills that Sansa simply doesn't have. I totally get it if they're jealous. I'm jealous of my brother. Have you seen the views on his channel compared to mine? Jealousy. But okay, let's talk about that battle scene. That battle scene, baby. I know some people do Game of Thrones reactions. And for this channel, which features plenty of those, I've definitely had requests to do that. I haven't done them because the shows are like an hour long. And I feel like usually when I watch a Game of Thrones episodes, I'm usually just kind of quiet and still when I watch an episode, and I'm ready already not a fan if I end up having not that much of a reaction in a short video, and I can't only imagine what it'll be like for an hour. But this season, just their episodes have so many scenes where I'm just alone in my living room and I'm being super vocal about what the hell's going on screen. And it seems like this battle that get you we're only on episode 4. Bronn is now teamed up with Jaime. They're waging their war against Daenerys, and right now the Lannister army, they're just camping out, prepping for their next battle, resting up, all that crap. And they hear a stampede of horses approaching them from the other side of the hill. The Lannister army prepares for battle, and it's wonderfully shot. It's beautifully shot, because it's such a spectacular way of build-up where they're looking at like the horizon of the hilltop. They just hear it. It just keeps getting louder and louder, but they don't see an army yet. Then suddenly, it's a Dothraki, man. The Dothraki are riding toward them, which was freaking sweet. Badass entrance for sure. Like, to me, the Dothraki already have a pretty good chance of winning. They're the Dothraki. But you know, Jaime's a good commander. They can probably at least survive this. Maybe not win, but I wasn't thinking like Jaime could die or something. But then, with amazing HBO special effects, Daenerys and Drogon, I think it's that. Daenerys and Drogon. Drogon? We'll call him Drogon. Come riding in. And they fuck that shit up. Like, Dothraki, already scary enough for the Lannisters, but they had no chance, man. The Dothraki, they're slaughtering the Lannister army. Drogon is torching soldiers and wiping out supplies and weapons left and right. It is a massacre. Oh my god, was it awesome. There were just some, like that one shot, Drogon just comes flying in, he torches like a perfect line. From the Lannister army perspective, it's nothing short of horrifying. People are being burnt alive left and right. It's pure chaos. It's chaos. And Jaime, that dude is just losing more and more hope as it continues. It was strangely conflicting. Because yeah, do I want Daenerys to win? Of course I do. Of course I want Daenerys to win. But I love Jaime and I love Bronn. I got a special soft spot for Bronn. And because I love those characters, I wasn't feeling bad for the army, but I was feeling really bad for Jaime and Bronn. Because they're just getting demolished out there. They literally have no fighting chance at actually winning. Even when Bronn gets to that giant, crossbow mechanism thing, I don't know the name of it. It's taking me years to remember certain characters' names from the show. I don't remember what that's called. It was intense because I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna kill the dragon, they're gonna kill the dragon, that would really suck if they kill the dragon. Just makes you start thinking, what the hell, what's gonna go wrong? It's cool because the giant crossbow thing, it pierces Drogon, but it doesn't kill him. But it's still an effective moment because it shows Daenerys in that moment, and for anyone who survived from the Lannister side, that those dragons are not invincible. You can still harm them, meaning they could probably be taken down. Knowing the way the show works, it puts Daenerys in a position where she has to listen to Tyrion. She has to remain strategic. She can't just go in there riding into battle all the time. It's exactly what Tyrion was fearing about the situation. Because for all Daenerys knows, Cersei might have more of these being built right now, or has plenty of these built right now. And when Jaime, who's lost all hope, sees one chance he has at possibly killing Daenerys, he goes for it. What an intense scene, because prior to that, Tyrion, you see he's at the battle, and he's just watching everyone get slaughtered, and you could see he has sympathy for all the Lannister people that are being just burnt alive. They're just dying. And when Jaime's riding after Daenerys, he just starts muttering, "You idiot, you fucking idiot." What a conflicting scene. It's like conflicting for Tyrion because he's fighting for Daenerys, but he doesn't want his brother Jaime to die. I don't want Jaime to die as an audience member. I don't want Daenerys to die. Like, it's chaos. It's the first time in these series these two characters have ever come so close to each other. They made eye contact. And before he can get to her, Drogon, fire breathes, and Bronn manages to sweep in, tackle Jaime off the horse and into the water. Good save, Bronn. Good save. So yeah, that battle was absolutely superb. Yes, visually looks fantastic. And because there's been so many action sequences so early in the season, it keeps making me wonder what their final battle is gonna be like. Because Battle of the Bastards was the best battle sequence they've had thus far. And every season has at least one major battle sequence that tops last season. And with all the crazy shit they've been doing so early in this show, I'm only wondering what the big final battle of this season's gonna be. The reason the battles are great are because it never loses sight of what makes this show so work, which is the emotional capacity and the emotional impact of the characters. Because even in this battle sequence, it lets you take the time to see the journey of what's going on with the main characters in this battle. You see Tyrion's conflict. You can see Daenerys is like soaking up the power while she rides her dragon. she is bloodthirsty, man, and she is reveling in the glory of it all. And Jaime, he's becoming nothing short of hopeless. He's been smart. He's been in charge. And he has never had to take down an enemy like this. Like, how is he gonna bounce back? How the hell can Jaime possibly come out of this situation and feel like him and Cersei and everyone else has a chance at actually defeating Daenerys? What a great episode. What a fantastic episode. This easily the best season. Easily. I mean, a couple of other moments. I wish there was a little more screen time with Jon and Theon. They reunite. Theon did some terrible things. Because he did save Sansa from Ramsay, Jon won't kill him. It was such a short-lived moment, and for an episode that already had so much going on in it, you don't really have time to explore it. But I am curious to see if or how their relationship will develop now that they are reconnected with each other. And there's even some possible foreshadowing of Jon and Daenerys having some romance. I mean, in this episode, when Jon goes to greet Daenerys, she, no other way to put it, man. This video is going to be non-advertiser friendly. She gives him the fuck eye. And when gossiping Davos is making quips with Jon about the way Jon interacts with Daenerys. You know, Davos is picking up, I think you're into this, queen. And I think with the way the reveal happened in season 6, Daenerys is Jon's aunt. At this point, it's Game of Thrones. Who cares? We've had plenty of incest in this show. Let them get together. I like it. They're just actors. So what'd you guys think of this episode of Game of Thrones? Has this been your favorite season so far? Put it in the comment boxes. Yay! Subscribe to The Real Rejects. Click that notification bell. Follow me on that TV Time app. And we have a Patreon. Patreon.com/TheRealRejects. Plenty of fun, exclusive goodies.